Welcome to the Triplefour podcast. Sub Four Heads, the number 2 podcast in the world behind Rojogan Experience. You're listening to it right now, available on Spotify, Apple Music, no, not Apple Music, Apple Podcasts, etc. Look out for the Facebook page for the Triplefour podcast coming to you soon. Like it, share it with your friends, and tell them that it's the number 2 podcast in the world. And when they say that's not true, say, fuck off, I have the data. And then they'll say, show it to me, and then you say, give me some time. Then you go to your personal computer, you go to Microsoft Word, you go in there, you type in the stats in big bold font at the top, and then you write number 1 dot Rojogan Experience, number 2 dot the Triplefour podcast, space a couple times, and then write most popular podcasts in the world, Wikipedia. Then bring it right back to your friend and say, here it is. And they can't argue with you. It says Wikipedia. Today on the cast, we have our good friend and pal and buddy, Nick Wandersea?
Chicken Wandersea.
Chick Wandersea. I got some hot chicken right now. It's pretty spicy. Is that the buffalo chicken?
This is the buffalo chicken dangus from the quick...
Fast Journey.
Yeah, Fast Journey.
Quick Trip. Our sponsor today, coincidentally...
Quick Trip.
Quick Trip, of course. We have another guest, a very special guest, a first-time debut appearance, a fan favorite in the comment section, a world-renowned poet.
Breaking gender roles.
I wasn't going to mention that at all.
Well, I think you should. So
No.
This is a landmark for women, all right?
Yeah.
This is...
I'm here to break and make history.
Women have been on podcasts in the past.
I'm the first. I'm the first.
And the reason is we're just too scared
to
talk to girls. So anyway, roll the theme song.
You didn't even introduce me. I forgot. I'm not coming back.
Our guest today is Maddie Madison Bowen.
Yeah.
What do you want to be called?
I want to be
supposed
acknowledged.
He gave you the hype, the intro. You gotta say your name.
You didn't say my. You're supposed to say my name.
All right, roll it back.
Say my name.
We have our today on the cast. We have a very special guest, a debut appearance from
the number 1 fan.
Number 1 fan
Of the number 2 podcast in the world.
About to be number 1 contributor.
That's statistically incorrect.
No, I mean, she's about to make a large donation to...
Oh, yeah, a
$5.
monetary contribution.
I
Yeah.
am.
Yeah.
$5. 10 in total.
And her name is...
Maddie.
Maddie.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming.
Thanks, Maddie.
Yep.
Roll the theme song.
Triplefour.
Let's talk about it. Okay, Triplefour
Triplefour
podcast.
Yeah, you said
This dude makes a meatwad fucking thing for no reason, and then he says Jim Norrison. Bob Dylan I find personally obnoxious, but the Beatles destroyed culture.
Oh my god.
I got Elon Musk to smoke weed in my Tesla the other day. That's not even a big fucking deal.
Things are crazy right now. You don't know shit, do you? We really didn't.
You know, you can't always get what you want, but you'll find sometimes that if you try,
You just might get it.
Oh, you get it!
And we're back. Today, I just want to... I don't want to go, like, the whole episode or anything about it, but we just saw a film called Uncut Gems. It's a new film with Adam Sandusel in it.
Sandman.
When did people start calling him the Sandman? Because I watched his last stand-up special, and he calls himself the Sandman a lot.
Oh, yeah, I guess he does.
And I was like, you don't just get to make up a fucking
I was
thing.
just saying some bullshit. I didn't even...
Yeah, exactly. That's what he was doing also. Never heard him called Sandman until he started calling himself that, and that bothers me. So, the deal was, Manny is an infamous hater of Sandler. And look, I'm no defender. Like, I'm not going to come out here and be like, look, Sandler
is an artist.
is a fucking untouchable, magisterial
one of the
unicorn. I think he's done good stuff, obviously.
Absolutely.
But, like, I'm watching these interviews with writers and directors and the Safdies themselves, the directors of this film, and they're talking about, like, oh, he's a legend. Everything he's done is so great. And I'm just like, no, don't try to revise history. He's made nothing but garbage for the last 10 years, if not more. I think he's undoubtedly, I'm going to say he's a talented actor, but he wastes his time and his talent on lots of stupid shit.
The point is, I deeply and irrationally hate Adam Sandler.
You don't even have to say irrationally.
It's irrational. It literally doesn't matter if he did something good and something completely outside of his role. I hate him. I don't like looking at his face. It triggers me. It's irrational, okay? And that's an important thing to know.
It's important to know. But the bit was, I told Maddie that her Christmas present to me was she has to see this movie with me because I was thinking that this would be... Well, I didn't think it would change your mind, but I thought you would see at least some other side of him. You know,
which I think we did.
Did we? That's deeply debatable.
Well, let's hold on for a second. And really, the other example... he has other dramatic roles, but... Realistically, the one that I think is really the standout is Punch Drunk Love. I don't know if you've ever seen that movie. It's a Paul Thomas Anderson movie. Really great performance from him, which I think is probably still his most mature performance. Like, I think it's still the thing that he went most outside of his box for. And to return to what we were saying, I think, and what I was wondering, like the first 30 minutes of this movie... I was thinking, oh, Maddie's hating this. Because he's not really, like, that far from a Sandler kind of archetype.
Yeah,
you know, because he's still
just
kind
a
of...
loud Jew.
Well, yeah, he's just, like, this, like, annoying, kind of whiny, like, frustrating guy who's, like, getting off
he's
on
a
how
salesman.
much
At the end of the day, he's a salesman.
Yeah, he's kind of like...
He's like a... Kind of... He's...
that stuff?
Yeah. Salesman, he's jealous, he's angry, he's...
A bad dad.
A bad dad.
He's with beautiful women.
Beautiful women, but bad dad who tries to be a good dad.
Yeah, like...
And it's...
irredeemable in a lot of ways. Which I think was what a lot of his Happy Madison stuff... Like I said, he's made garbage for the past decade. And I think a lot of the stuff he's made, which a lot of it has been Netflix exclusive because he has a deal with them. Actually, you know what? I'm forgetting. He did do a movie a few years ago called The Meyerowitz Stories with Ben Stiller and Dustin Hoffman. That was a Noah Baumbach movie from like 2017. That's another really good dramatic performance.
I've seen that one.
Yeah, check it out.
What's it called?
The Meyerowitz Stories.
The Meyerowitz
it's on Netflix.
Stories.
Yeah.
Okay.
So another exception to what I said earlier, but his movies, like the ones he produces, are awful because I think
Happy Madison. Yeah.
Happy Madison stuff because like he just goes on vacation and then films it.
Yeah.
Like,
okay.
he's
Short of the obvious. Billy Madison
and Happy
Gilmore, and
Waterboy are by no means great cinema, but are like your inner 14-year-old loves them. You know,
absolutely.
That's where they stand. Which I get if you don't like, because I think it's just like it's one of those things where, yeah, he's fucking a loud, brash, annoying man-child. Like that's his bit. That's what those.
Shout out
are.
Rob Schneider. That's our other sponsor today. Is Rob Schneider.
Still trying his best. But
he's a carrot.
I'm assuming there are no other redeemable things about Adam Sandler or anything he's done in your book, right?
I mean, literally nothing. Yeah,
nothing. Okay,
that's correct.
Yeah. You know, I think it was...
This is going great.
Yeah, well, so like I said, the first 30 minutes or so, I'm thinking, oh, she's hating this. Because, I was led to believe, and I think the marketing on this movie was particularly different from what the movie is.
Yeah.
Because, they were like, oh, Sandler fucking transforms in this role. And I'm just thinking...
Yeah, I saw that too. Especially, the scene where he's crying.
Which is a little bit outside of his box. I mean, it's more than fucking
little bit.
His last Jennifer Aniston fucking movie that he probably did, you know. This fucking Last Vacation movie where David Spade and him fart, which is probably, you know, like something he's done, you know. But yeah, I think he did disappear into it, you know, like there comes a time where you're sucked into the character, where you're kind of like
I was
not
sucked
thinking
in as
about
soon
him
as
being Adam Sandler.
I was sucked off as soon as they got to the part where he shows up to his apartment the first time, and the two girls are laying in the bed, and he's like legitimately angry, like he's yelling, like he's fucking had it. He's like, I'm fucking tired, and don't feed me that bullshit. Like, don't lie to me. Like, that was the first point in the movie where I was like, oh, he's actually acting. Like, he's really doing it.
I'm gonna try and keep this spoiler free, by the way. That's
yeah,
probably
sorry.
fine.
That
that's
was
probably fine,
that's very early in the movie. That's just him being angry.
Yeah.
It's not really a spoiler.
But other thoughts, Maddie? What did this give you? Remember when I said see another side of him? Did that at all?
No, not really. I mean, so once the movie ended, I felt a little more positive about the movie. But
we'll keep it spoiler free.
Whatever you.
But really like, if we're focusing specifically on Adam Sandler, like, yeah, he's still annoying. He still looks the same way, and it's gross, and I don't like it because it's him. And so I'm angry. And he was annoying the whole time. And, like, I guess he had a more complex character than his other films, for sure, where it was like, I don't know, there was a little bit more going on, but he was still fucking obnoxious the entire time.
I think it's funny that you took her to this movie trying to get her to like Sandler, and Sandler is playing the most unlikable human.
Yeah, pretty much.
Like, I didn't think it was going to be that way, though. That's what I'm saying. Like, at least I thought, like, yeah, he was, like, I don't know.
I also went in blind, though. So, I mean, I didn't watch any of the trailers.
That's always good. Yeah. That was what made me really enjoy Knives Out, is I knew nothing about it, other than two names of people that were in the movie. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I didn't see any trailers, nothing.
I think it's always a thing, you know. But I mean, for me, it was I saw the trailer for this a lot.
You couldn't avoid this fucking trailer. It was everywhere.
Yeah,
I avoided it pretty successfully. So.
Well,
you're not on the film Twitter and film Facebook like I am, where I'm always being fucking pounded with the new A24 marketing.
Just you wait.
Okay.
Cool.
All right.
This movie really is within my degree, so. What I say matters.
Yeah, that's true. Maddie's a rock person.
Can we talk about the in-theater experience?
It wouldn't be a Triplefour podcast if we didn't talk about the other people in the theater.
Talk about the riffraff. Honestly...
Riffraff was in the theater. The rapper.
He was in the theater watching it. He enjoyed the movie a lot. Was it a problem for you at all? Did it even register on your... I know you're very conscious of, like, if like you can tell that I'm not having a good time kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I was mostly just trying to ignore it. Like, they weren't talking, so it wasn't a big problem.
Here's what we should start doing. We should just rate it on a scale of 10. Like, how bad was it?
This one was like a 3 or 4.
Okay.
So it wasn't that bad. It really wasn't that bad. Not compared to the last time, which was a fucking 10. Like,
I don't think last time
or a 9.
I think last time was probably a strong 8.
It was bad.
If not, like, but anyway.
But anyway, there were 2 characters that entered the theater. One before the trailer started. You know, we had our seats. There were 4 of us, and I'm sitting.
Packed theater also.
Packed theater
for this movie. Crazy.
And as always, I'm sitting on the end that is trouble.
Yep. Same positioning as the Star Wars thing.
Exact same positioning, plus Maddie. And this guy comes... I saw him... You know what's funny is I was smoking a cigarette beforehand outside, and I saw him walk up with his headphones on.
The young guy?
By himself.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is a guy that, you know, maybe doesn't have a lot of friends. He just wants to go see a movie.
Yeah.
You know?
This is what people say about me. Every other movie I go to.
He looked nerdy, socially awkward, and I was like, he's just here to see a movie.
That's cool.
End of thought. So then I go inside, and we all convene and do the concession and all that shit, and pre-bathroom, and we get into the theater, we sit down. I'm sitting down for like, I don't know, a couple minutes before this guy comes in, and he comes up, and he sits directly next to me.
Yeah.
Honestly, he really wasn't a problem. I had more of a problem with the guy sitting next to him.
Yeah.
Which was, like the last one, a big old gruff dude that walked in, had trouble getting up. He was breathing heavily walking up the stairs, and I was like, oh no, oh no, oh no. And he sits in our row. Every time.
I thought I heard maybe him have an exchange with the younger guy. Like, I thought, like, okay.
I think that they knew each other. I don't know if they knew each other. It kind of seemed that way. Like, he was meeting him there.
Well, young kid split after, like, the moment the credits rolled, he got out of his seat.
Like I said, socially awkward.
Yeah.
But, so here's what the two were doing. Okay, you had the young kid who is...
Stretching.
Stretching is one way to put it. It was a whole thing. He was very fidgety through, like, the whole movie. Like, every 30 seconds. And, like I said, he kept doing that thing where he would adjust in his seat and he would, like, lean... Almost like you're laying in bed next to somebody. Like this. And it was facing me. So I was like, dude, get away from me. I just kind of ignored it. I was like, I really like this movie. I'm just gonna not even acknowledge that this is happening. And the fucking leg rest, too. The fucking...
Yeah. He could not decide.
Like he's a fucking robot.
Could not decide on the leg rest.
That dude. And then the old dude, which honestly wasn't that bad. And younger guy was blocking him, so it was okay. He came in and he was just laughing at inappropriate moments.
But it wasn't that much. I definitely noticed it. Like it would be silent.
It wasn't enough to be mad about.
Yeah.
It was just kind of like, what? Like, who are you? And yeah,
he fell asleep for a little while.
He had something with him. He had an item with him that I couldn't tell what it was. At first, when he was walking up, he had his hand down, like, behind the row, so I couldn't tell. I thought he had a cane. But when he got up, he had, like, this weird, like, box kind of thing with him. I thought it might have been
I think it was food.
Like an apparatus for his breathing or whatever. But then I got to look at it, kind of. I don't know what the fuck it was.
Oh. Because I saw an empty food box on the ground when we were leaving. But
it was like an apparatus of sorts, and I have no idea what it was. And that also was bothering me. just because I didn't know what it was, and I didn't know what his issue was, and then there was the one point where he fell asleep, and he was snoring for like 5 minutes. Which not that bad.
Would not be a problem because a lot of this movie was loud.
Yeah.
But then but anything that wasn't loud was pretty quiet. Yeah. You know, like, so it was only during a quiet scene that he would fall asleep.
All I could hear was Breathy McBreatherson and Fidget Boy. It wasn't the noise that the fidget guy didn't bother me as much as it was him readjusting in his seat and being like, and feeling that. And I'm just kind of like, dude, tone it down a bit. Like,
I knew it was
bad. It wasn't enough to say anything either.
Yeah. I knew it was bad when I looked over and he was literally out of his seat. Like, completely forward, like, almost up. And I was like, is he going to, like, leave during this really intense scene? Or...
I think he probably had a little bit of, like ADD or something. He had to, like, move around. But then this movie's also very stressful. Like,
that was something that I put into consideration, because he definitely seemed like he was into the movie, but it was bothering him.
He's like, I gotta leave. Oh, I'll stay. Okay.
I think there's an element...
That's kind of the vibe I got.
Yeah.
Those are good seats, the, like, chairs themselves. Yeah. Like, so I was, like... And I wouldn't complain about those because it could be so much worse. But, like, I was thinking, like, you know, a lot of times when there was a lot of people in the row, you kind of do feel, like, a little bit trapped in your seat. And, like, when I'm alone, I will, like, fucking sprawl out all over the place, and I will never get uncomfortable. I will be putting my feet up fucking anywhere I want.
That actually happened with the old dude, because when he was snoring, I really had to go to the bathroom, and his legs were all the way up against the fucking wall. And I was like, do I tap this old dude?
Oh, dude, I would have done it.
Do I just be like, hey, man, you're snoring. Also, I gotta go to the bathroom. Like, get the fuck out of here.
I would have done that.
Lift his feet out of the way.
If I had to go to the bathroom...
I was plotting for a solid... Like, the whole time he was asleep, I was like, do I jump over his legs? Do I shake this old man?
I say just bump into him and act like it's an accident.
Ooh, like, I'm so sorry.
Oh, wow, crazy.
Hey, can you...
Weird that your legs are in the walkway.
And when he fell asleep, I had the thought of, like, I wish I had something to throw. Because, like, who could really say it was me?
You
Just
never
a
know.
couple
Those
pieces of
walls at that
popcorn.
theater are high enough that you can't see what's going on down here, so you could be like, "Yoop."
Just
then
a
just-
couple pieces of popcorn.
I think about that all the time. When people are sleeping or whatever, I'm just like, if I just had one little fucking thing to throw at this guy. Anyway.
Bring that next time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bring the 200 milliliter. How many milliliters is it?
200.
It really is?
We would have had a whole fucking political debate about this.
I don't think that's accurate.
But anyway,
It is.
I said, I think the marketing was a little bit different than what I got, you know, because I was expecting for it to be like Good Time, where it was like a single night, like fucking balls to the wall the whole time. But this was more of a character study that had a lot of tense shit in it.
Yeah.
Like, I think it was more airy than Good Time. It had more atmosphere, I felt. Like, and like for me, I think that makes Good Time a better movie in some ways, just because I think Good Time was so tight. Like,
Yes.
it was fucking adrenaline beginning to end. This is kind of like like a roller coaster in the sense where you feel like you're gonna get sick almost. You're just like, oh, there's so
And you're just
much.
waiting for something to happen.
To go
Like,
really wrong.
There are some things that happen early on, but you're sitting there at a certain point waiting for something really bad to happen.
Yeah.
And you're like, it's coming any minute, and you just have that. You have that anxiety for the whole
Yeah.
movie. You're like, this is not going to end well. Like,
Yeah. And they were so effective at it in like small parts, like the scene where the Kevin Garnett can't get into the store, and he's like, they're like, the door isn't working, but like he's like, well, I have the fucking thing, and like, and it's like, that is fucking like, ugh, and that was like, I can't
I was
spoil.
on the
it.
verge of death at that point. I
Yeah.
was like, holy God. And like, it's not like things stop. Things just keep going, and then they keep progressing, and they're like still stuck, and
This is not really a spoiler, but I would like to comment on Kevin Garnett's performance. They did a really good job of setting that tone early on that, like, he was not having it.
Yeah.
And that's what makes every moment so tense, is that all the characters in this movie
Are upset.
so ready to fucking blow up. You're like, when's it gonna fucking happen?
well, it's also like, so you start the movie and everyone seems to be in on something. Like, they're all somehow deeply involved, and it's like this whole thing, and then he comes in and he's like, I don't know anything about anything that's going on right now. I'm just here for the Magic Stone. That's it.
Yeah. I thought the third act, the final act was fucking incredible. Like, the last 20 minutes are so good.
The game
yeah.
is like the...
Yeah. And I think the inciting incident that leads to that, like this, I want to dance around the spoiler, but like there's...
You can do one spoiler.
I'll spoil it and then I'll cut it out, but you guys will know what I'm talking about. I felt like I was at a basketball game. Like, you know, like as soon as he's like, I'm going to make that bet, and you're like, yeah!
Yeah, I've never been into sports, nor have I ever watched a basketball game, but I was really into this one.
Yeah. It was masterful directing because they really did the legwork to get to, like, those stakes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that was the whole movie. The whole movie was legwork to get to points of critical intensity. Like, moments where you're so emotionally invested, and then it just kind of like, it's not even like things go completely wrong, they just twist around, and it's like you feel this lurch in your stomach, like, oh, this is not going to bode well for that other thing, but I guess he's kind of succeeding. No, he's not, he's fucked. And then you're like, it is...
Oh, it goes
It's
back
so
and forth.
up and
So
down.
that's the thing, too, is it
Yeah.
goes back and forth so many times that you're like, yeah,
It's
no,
like you
yeah,
think it's
no,
gonna end.
no,
Yep.
no. All right.
Okay.
Okay.
No.
All right. No.
That's like the difference between this and Good Time. Good Time is like this fucking...
It's just like, no,
downhill
the whole fucking...
thing,
You're just
yeah.
like, fuck.
Yeah. Check it
I'll
out.
watch it.
It's really
sometime.
dope.
It is
I will.
great.
I will
I
vouch for
guess
that.
I
That was
am legally required
from the
to
second.
now.
Unlike this one, like I wasn't expecting the whole intro with the mines.
Yeah,
thing,
that was cool.
but Good Time. Second it started, fucking screwdriver in my stomach. I was just
Yeah.
like, ooh, this is gonna be dark. Like,
Yeah,
this
it is, and it's Robert Pattinson instead of Sandler. It's Robert Pattinson instead of Sandler, so I think maybe that'll draw you in a little bit more. And Pattinson is fucking awesome in that movie. Like, when people were talking about him being Batman, I was like, yeah, that's fine, because, like, in Good Time, his performance is so choice. Like, he's so physical and, like, in it and, like, believable. I thought that, yeah.
I didn't realize how good of an actor Robert Pattinson was until I saw an interview with him. And I was like, oh my god, you are nothing like any character you've ever played in your life.
Yeah.
And that was when I knew.
He's kind of like a model. Like, when I see his interviews, I'm like, this guy's like kind of
He's a
weirdly
handsome
classy,
man.
like classy, handsome dude. Like, I'm like kind of intimidated. Like,
Yeah.
he's
Dan
no
wants to
Cedric.
fuck Robert Pattinson.
Maybe. There's a lot of life left. That's what I always say. Speaking of which, Robert Eggers, get on this fucking podcast because I'm gonna beat your ass.
Don't put all your eggs in one basket. That's what I'll say.
That's the final line from Lighthouse. Don't put all your eggs in one basket.
Wait, does he? I don't remember.
No.
Does he actually...
These surely were some uncut gems.
That
That was a crazy final line. You should see Lighthouse also, Maddie.
Okay.
And that's the last line of Good Time. He goes, boy, that was a good time.
It was a good time. And you're like, well, surely it was not. It was not for you. But anyway, any other thoughts on Uncut Gems starring Adam Sandoozle?
The movie itself was fine. It was good.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah. No strong contributions.
I
here.
think for me,
as the cinematography was good, the writing was good, the acting was good. It's good. It's good.
Yeah. The movie itself was good.
Adam
Sandler is still himself, but
I really like a very strong feeling I had was like, I am watching cinema. And I know that sounds like pretentious to a lot of people, but like I felt like this is really using every aspect of the medium. Like, I'm seeing like actors acting, I'm seeing good writing, and the construction of the film overall
story
is it is a very intricately constructed film, and it is made so that moments and scenes can be impactful. And I think that's what like cinema is to me. Like, and it felt very much like a 70s film to me. Like a very like tense, like shitty people in New York kind of thing. It's a very 70s kind of setting. Like, guy's gambling, he's self-destructive. You kind of like, the movie itself is kind of pessimistic. It felt very 70s to me.
But it's modern, and they integrate that thing with like
The Weeknd is in it.
Yeah,
and
The
like
Weeknd and Kevin Garnett, and
apparently there's an Uber for helicopters called Blade.
Oh yeah,
notice that? That was nuts.
Does it exist?
I know that there's something
probably. I imagine that exists in
Yeah.
New York for people that are that wealthy.
I know that I saw a picture on like Twitter or something the other day, and it was like an Uber thing. Somebody's trying to get to JFK or whatever, and it said Uber X cost $100. Uber, whatever the other ones are.
That was the only other.
And then it said Uber Copter. Uber Copter.
Uber Copter.
And it said like it was like price $200, but it was slashed, so it said $100. And the tweet was like, "Why does this cost less than the regular Uber car?" Like, it was like,
I will say one thing that I was thinking of the whole movie was, how much money does this dude actually have, and how much money does he actually owe?
yeah.
Also,
Yeah.
how much money do these people... Because there's a couple of these vague characters that they introduce, like, you get an idea of what their role is,
Yeah.
but they don't...
Like those two little twin dudes. You know, the two guys with the gray hair that...
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
They don't really say what those guys
No,
do.
they don't say...
Oh.
Obviously, he owes them money.
Yeah.
But then you have, like, the main shark and the other guy.
Yeah.
And you don't really get an idea of, like, just how much money is involved here.
Mm-hmm.
At least on their end.
See, I was thinking about, like, the daily spendings. So, like, I don't know, your kids are sad, they want pizza or something, or they need, like, lunch money, or, like, I don't know, you got to bring home lettuce for the salad. I was thinking about that. I was like, all right, so you're in all this shit with all this money.
He has multiple apartments too.
Yeah. So I was
Nice
like, well, where are you using money that you don't actually have to buy like basic things that you need to like function as a family member in a household? Or like, do you have a specific account for like basic daily spendings, which surely to God add up? That's what I think about groceries and stuff.
Yeah, it was. I thought like you own a whole jewelry store. Like, why don't you kind of? Anyway, like there was, but he did like kind of use that to his advantage sometimes. You know, like he'd give away a watch or something here and there. But I think even then there's this implication like he doesn't even own this watch. You
right.
know, like,
yeah. Well.
Yeah.
Which is, I mean, but final thought.
Can we just get in all the spoilers?
Well, I don't really want to because I want people to be able to listen to this. Yeah, like because the last 2 episodes we did were all spoilers. So,
right. Spoilers.
Final thought. Something you guys mentioned in the car was like the camera, going into the opal, like going into the gem, and I think this is maybe it's a silly theory. But I think what that kind of represented was, like, investigating a very big, like, colorful thing that happens inside of something. Like, there's, like, this story is, like, a very colorful, huge thing that's happening, but it could just be happening anywhere. Like, I felt like there was a lot of moments in this, like, think about the part where he's arguing with the girlfriend outside the taxi or whatever, and just thinking, like, if you were walking down the street in New York, you'd see that. You'd see the couple arguing getting into the taxi or whatever. But that's just this small little thing that you would never notice. It's like there's these huge stories happening everywhere.
You know what?
And I think like the gem kind of represented like, if you look a little closer, you'll find there's this huge world like within these little things. Well, they said that
if you look inside it, you'll see. They say
universe,
if you look inside this, you can see the universe.
Yeah.
Which.
Well, I thought the connection between Sandler's character and the gems like insides versus the outside, like the perception of that being a very regular guy or whatever, or then there's a whole world going on in his life.
I liked the connection just between I mean literally on the other side of the world kind of thing, and like all the intricacies of like, wow, we're minors and like things aren't going well and like work rights and things, and anyway, here's this whole other thing that's going on.
Yeah.
I kind of got like I don't know if you saw the new live action Lion King.
No.
Okay, well, anyway, they do a whole bit about it. Spoilers for the new Lion King, I guess.
About jewel miners?
Oh, yes. No, but they do this bit where there's
crazy.
like this little, dung beetle thing, and it's like, Simba's fur flies away because he's a lion and he sheds, and then it gets in this shit, and then this beetle rolls it, and then it rolls away, and it goes through all these things, and then eventually it goes to, like, the OG lions, and they're like, wait, Simba's alive right now? Whoa.
Wings
and
of
it's
a
like,
butterfly, dude.
Yeah, it's like this whole... I think it actually goes to the monkey. Whatever. Someone figures... whatever. Someone eventually gets the fur that was once shit out by someone, and it was a whole thing. And it was like, wow, the whole world is just really connected, isn't it? That was kind of the thing I got from it.
Oh, yeah. I think also the miners thing was kind of a dig at the, like, just kind of checking the...
Wait, the miners
the jewel
were
miners?
what?
It was kind of a dig.
Oh, shit.
It was kind of...
Miners dig deeper.
It was kind of a privilege check for the story.
Definitely. And
I wish they would have revisited it. If they
well, they did, kind of. The conversation that he was having with Garnett, where he's like, so wait, there are these people...
And it's Sandler trying to justify his actions.
Exactly.
Right?
As he is the whole time.
Yeah.
Like, no, it's going to be fine. And look, here's the...
Yeah.
You know what?
Yeah, which is
I'll throw some money at it.
Remember basketball? Anyway.
I think it was, like another very good indication of this guy's a bad person.
Yeah. Like, you know what? If you think about it, we're all bad people.
Whoa. Watch a few movies, you'll find out we're all bad people. Continuing, wanted to say it's the end of the year. virtually.
Yeah, this was, I guess, the last one really that was on the list for
what, like the movies list?
Basically.
I do want to see Little Women.
We're going to see Little Women.
We're going to see Little Women. And so that is kind of like the last thing I want to check. I do want to see 1917 also, but I don't think that's going to be playing until January, so fuck them.
Yeah.
You don't get to be on my list, or consideration for my list. More broadly, though, I wanted to say, just like, it's the end of the year, so what were the highlights of 2019 in general? Not outside of films or whatever, just in your life.
Oh, in general?
Yeah.
Man. Recorded my first album. Like, legit album.
You
like,
have no proof of that.
Jesus Christ.
It's never coming out, so it's not real.
Like, in a legitimate professional studio. Recorded 11 tracks, which we will be releasing in 2020. So excited for that. Look out for who goes there.
Is there a title?
This is why I'm not a dentist.
Is that actually the title?
That is
or
actually
a
the
working
title.
This is why I'm not a dentist.
This is why I'm not a dentist.
Okay. Don't look up any other Who Goes There's because it's not official. It's not Nick's band. There are other Who Goes There's bands out there on like Bandcamp and shit.
There was one. They have a... Like, if you look it up on Google, you'll find it, but it's very obvious that it's not us if you know what our music is. But
right.
Who's gonna know who our music is until we release the album? Ben? But, yeah, recording the album, Snarky Puppy, B-52s...
These are concerts. You've seen.
Riot Fest, Toby Nwegwe, all that stuff. Yeah, dope concerts, life-changing concerts, and I got approved for a house loan.
Nice.
Cue Uncut Gems soundtrack.
I'm gonna bet it all on the
All of a
Celtics.
sudden.
Soundtrack was fucking weird.
As soon as they give me the house loan, I'm gonna bet all $85K on the fucking
On the
Celtics.
Yeah,
Celtics.
just gamble it instead of using it for what it's for.
Betting on sports is fucking wild.
Yeah.
Betting on anything is incredibly uncomfortable for me.
Oh yeah, I'm with you. Having worked in the casino.
I bet that everyone's gonna listen to this podcast.
Everyone?
$100.
Oh fuck. Everyone in the world.
Yeah.
Adam Sandler himself will
Yes.
listen to this podcast.
He's
He'll
not
reach-
gonna like what you had to
He's
say.
gonna reach out to me directly.
we definitely have a history of calling out famous people.
Fuck Hollywood.
All right, new shit. We have a shit list on the Triplefour
The
podcast,
Triplefour shit list.
and there are 2 people on it so far.
Robert.
No,
Sandler?
there's 3.
3.
There's 3. There's Robert Eggers, Sandler, and Bob Lazar. Fuck Bob Lazar.
Oh
Fuck
shit! That's more your vendetta, but it is your podcast.
You.
So.
So it's official and it represents everybody here's opinions. Anyway,
Cool. So, how's your 2019
highlight. No,
go?
you go first.
Oh.
I'm the host.
Ladies second, so
Wow.
yeah, I noticed. Anyway,
He just started talking. It's
Yeah.
not like
well,
blame him.
you're bad. Sorry.
Robert Eggers. Go
You're
ahead.
Sandler. Well, my only real highlight was, getting a co-op and yeeting out of Missouri.
Maddie was in the fucking North Pole all year.
Yeah, I actually hung out with Santa Claus for 6 months, and I got paid
To wrap
bad
gifts.
money to do it. So,
Oh,
yeah.
that's.
Yeah. He does pay, though. It's not just slavery. I can
Oh,
attest
I was
to
gonna
that.
say I think Santa would be able to dish out. Although I guess he doesn't really make any money off that whole.
No, he
operation.
really just makes cookies.
I really guess that all the money goes to Jeff Bezos.
Yeah,
True.
it does.
True.
Anyway, I was a part of the whole operation, so...
Maddie was an actual uncut gem miner most of the year.
Yeah. Via testing soil and concrete, I mined opals somehow. And all that. Black opals, specifically at 15,000 a carat.
Wow.
Yeah.
Crazy.
How many carats?
At least one.
Still pretty good.
Pretty good.
What defines
Still
a
pretty
carat?
good.
Can someone explain
A
that to me?
carat?
That's a good.
I looked it up once.
It's like an orange.
Fuck off.
It's an orange peel's length.
No, it has to. There's a certain like thing. I think it's it might be a part of a weight, like a weight system of some kind.
I can't wait for the sequel, Cut Gems.
Cut Gems, where he just deals jewelry like the regular.
Yeah, it just goes. It's a documentary about a jewelry business.
But anyway, the rock thing,
What?
Minnesota.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I went to Minnesota. Someone took a chance. They hired me. It was a beautiful thing. Someone please hire me again.
Because, as we know, everyone is going to listen to this.
Exactly. All my employers are listening right now. If you're thinking about me, I've applied to 28 of you. Please take me.
What if Sandler makes you an offer?
I'm going to have to deny that.
Wow.
Until we have a one-on-one conversation.
You get a free Uncut Gem if you fucking sign up for Happy Madison.
I can't do it.
Wow.
It's that serious.
Damn.
It's that ingrained.
It's fucked up.
Yeah. Nah, Minnesota was my highlight. I'm sad to be back.
Do you have any favorite albums or movies or anything from this year?
Midsommar went hard.
Hell
That was a good one. I think I saw
You pronounced it wrong.
Midsommar. You asked about year in general, and you specifically said, well, I guess you said not just
Well,
movies.
I want to... Yeah, I did, but I wanted
Movies is a good place to... Yeah, it's a good place to go.
Well, I wanted to open up the table. I knew you have answers. I just didn't know if you did.
All right.
We'll get back around to it.
That one went hard. I think I saw it 3 times total in theater.
Wow.
So, I'm the biggest fan. Whatever.
Biggest Midsommar head.
Yep.
You know...
Did you see the director's cut?
No, I didn't get to see it. I had to work.
I want to see that.
The
I only
few
saw
days it was out.
Yeah. Only saw it the one time.
If you could just put it on the server.
The regular one's on there.
Really?
Yeah.
Mm.
So is The Lighthouse.
No one told me.
Also, I put Jojo Rabbit on there, if you want to see that.
Sounds like a good server job.
Yeah, I know. Crazy. And Portrait of
Way to
Lady
tell
on Fire.
the internet that we're...
The internet has no fucking clue what I'm talking about.
That's true. It's a serving pitch in tennis.
What about albums?
I don't think I'm that hip on music that I listen to it as it comes out, to be honest.
That's tough. Yeah, and
Just name things that came out. I don't know.
Blink-182 came out with an
Name...
album.
They don't count. They're done.
Name 3 things.
Water bottle. Computer.
Rubber band.
Uncut Gems.
Woo! We did it.
Anyone got a Opal?
My
Black
favorite
Opal?
game
Opal.
is name 3 things. Quick, name 100 things that aren't Jackie Chan.
Rush Hour. Rush Hour 2.
Technically not Jackie Chan.
They're
Opal.
not him.
Yeah.
Rush Hour 3.
Opal.
Wheaties.
94 more.
And we're back. I just named 100 things. Do you have albums?
Not Jackie Chan. That's tough.
Great audio
Kanye
content.
did an album. He did that.
Kanye did put out an album.
do an album that
It
I
was bad.
wouldn't consider one of the greatest. It had a good song on it, but...
This is like the first time in a long time where I was like, yeah, I don't care about what Kanye's doing. Like, pretty much every other album, I was like, oh shit, Kanye's put out a new album. And then this one was like, no thanks. The Jesus is King, like Kanye's Born Again shit. Like, it's just like, this is boring. Like, why didn't he just kill somebody? That would be the best next step for Kanye. He killed somebody.
If anything, I'd have to say I couldn't really go by albums because I don't stay too hip on all of the albums. It's just too much. It's just too much to keep up with because I listen to so much music. But I will say probably my favorite artist of this year is Toby Nwigwe.
Okay, but did he put out an album this year?
He put out some things. His distribution is kind of strange. I don't think that he had like an actual album, but he puts out, because he does the Get Twisted Sunday stuff on YouTube. A lot of his distribution is through YouTube, and he puts it out for free, which is why this tour was such a big deal, because he really does give a lot to his fans.
Putting out stuff on YouTube for free. That's kind of the amateur play. Around here, we do stuff on Spotify, Apple Podcasts.
His merch at the show was very expensive, with reason, because he gives all his music for free.
Yeah. I think that's the future of music, though. I mean, all the shit's streaming now. You can't expect physical stuff to sell. So I think you need to tour a lot. You gotta sell merch.
Oh, absolutely. Touring is the name of the game. Yeah. Touring and merch are the name of the game.
And I don't think that's a bad thing, personally.
No.
Granted, I'm not a musician, really. So.
No, it makes for the best experience. It makes for an in-person experience where you get to meet. Not only do you get to meet the artist as a fan, but as an artist, you get to meet your fans and interact and be able to have that. Be able to play shows and see real reactions and have conversations with people at the merch booth and have merch that you want to sell, you know? Like we talked about earlier.
I would love to make merch. That would be awesome.
We're making Triplefour merch?
Triplefour merch.
Triplefour merch.
That's a good segue to one of my highlights. I saw Titus Andronicus for the second time, and I got to talk to Patrick Stickles, the singer-songwriter, for a second, and that was cool. That was a highlight for me. Well, I pretty much, I said, hey, man, it's cool to see you guys again. Music's meant a lot to me for a long time, so thank you. That was cool for you to do that, for making all them songs. And then he was like, thanks, man, that's what it's really about. And I was like, yeah.
Those are always the best, when it's like, there are few artists that you meet that are on a... Granted, Titus Andronicus isn't a huge name.
No, in fact, that kind of fed into this because the last time I saw them, they were selling out Lincoln Hall in Chicago, and now they were playing off-Broadway to 16 people.
Yeah, but I mean, sometimes it'd be like that, especially if you're playing punk or whatever.
Yeah.
But
guitar music in 2019.
Guitar music.
Yeah.
Those guitars really push a crowd away.
Yeah, they do.
Every once in a while, you meet an artist that's a bigger name, even if they are underground or whatever. Someone like a particular instance that I had, Aesop Rock, who you meet the artist. Sometimes they don't live up to the expectation. Sometimes you realize they're a dickhead. But the ones that you do meet that you are a really big fan of, and you find out, wow, this is a really great person. This is a nice human being that really cares. It's one of the best things in the world.
A good segue to other people we met in 2019. Other highlights. Brian Posehn, Jeremy Essig.
Oh, yeah.
Maria Bamford for a second. Maria Bamford was a big highlight for me, the show itself.
Okay.
I mean, and, just talking to her for a split second, but, the Brian Posehn show in general and hanging out with him for a second, and him and Jeremy Essig, another cool comedian, not in St. Louis anymore, but I think he does shows pretty regularly.
Yeah.
I think he moved to
He was a St. Louis local.
Cool dude. Very cool dude. Good, funny guy.
Also got a band. It's called Let's Not.
Let's Not. Jeremy Essig. Matt Bronger.
That was an interesting...
That was a good
I wish
thing.
we could have actually, gotten to see him after the show.
Yeah.
I'm surprised he wasn't in the lobby or
He's
anything.
a grown man, though.
Yeah,
I felt like when we were hanging
He's
out
like,
with
I'm going
everybody...
to bed.
Yeah, when we were, hanging out with everybody afterwards, I was thinking, yeah, he's probably going to bed. Grown-ass man. Children, I think. But the whole stand-up thing in general was a big highlight of the year.
I forgot about that. We did first open mic. That was definitely an opening to an unfinished chapter.
Open a new world. New friends.
Kind of, in a way. I looked at comedy a lot more this year than previous years.
Good peeps. Good people. Good friends. New people. New friends. So that's another highlight. We filmed most of a movie.
Most of it. That'll come out in 2035.
It will come out next year or else. I watched 600 films this year.
Jesus. Where do you find
Okay,
the time,
so
John?
I started bullet journaling in January.
Yeah.
And I was like, cool, I'll just, like, keep track of the films I watch. And I don't think I fully understood... You had a goal of 500 at one point. I don't think I understood the gravity of 500 films until I tracked the movies that I watched, and I reached, like, 60. And I was like, wow, I felt like I watched a lot of movies this year, and I counted it, and I was like, oh, fuck.
I mean, it's 1 or 2 a night for starters. I mean, like, that's just how it is. I always look at it as, like, studying. I mean, like,
Yeah.
I have to do it. Like, there's some... I don't remember who it was that said this, but I remember reading a quote from somebody that said, like, there are vegetable movies. Like, you may not like them, but you have to watch them.
Oh.
You know, like... because they're good for you. Like, they're good for opening your mind a little bit, expanding like your viewership, and I think that's important. I mean, like, this is a part of like why it's crazy to me that people are like looking at the marketing for Uncut Gems. They're like, you guys are seriously falling for the Adam Sandler thing again? I'm like, it's a great movie directed by good directors. Like, the fact that Sandler's in it is like actually a part of like the weird appeal. Like, it's not just that it's another Sandler movie, you know? I don't know.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother conversation.
But
I
dove into the Uncut Gems comments the past couple nights, just kind of getting hyped for it. But it's the same thing anytime you go into a comment section on social media.
Yeah.
You're just like, why did I do this?
Well, like friends of ours posted this stuff. They're like,
okay.
you guys are seriously falling for the Adam Sandler thing? But yeah, I think 40-ish, 42 maybe, I saw in theaters, which that's definitely a record high. I mean,
That's it, yeah.
I mean, 600 is a record for me for a year. But the 40-ish that I saw in theaters is another big thing. Shout out to AMC Stubbs A-List, because that was actually what let me do that for the most part. Saved a lot of money on that, so good deal for me. I lost 40 pounds at one point. Not sure where I'm at now. Doing a little bit better at recovering. So that was cool. Made a lot of health changes. That was cool. Favorite albums? Carly Rae Jepsen's Dedicated is my number one. Straight up. No joke. No irony. Straight up great album.
Hell yeah.
Clairo was a good discovery for me. Her album Immunity came out a few months ago. That's another great one. The new Nick Cave album, it's called Ghostine.
Good things.
It is fucking depressing. It is like really sad. I don't know if you know, but like his that's 14-year-old son died by falling off a cliff a few years ago.
God.
In the middle of recording his last album. And so I think this is the one where he first like really like, I mean, he kind of, you know, confronted it a little bit on the last one, but this one is like the full on like dealing with it album.
My kid fell off a cliff album.
Yeah, and that's like fucking crazy, because it's like, it's one thing to like if your kid like dies from cancer or something, but like falling off a cliff, that's like,
yeah, you're perfectly healthy, successful 14-year-old just yeets off a cliff.
Yeah,
it's fucking hereditary.
Fucking crazy.
That's another one. Like I said, albums too. I gotta get in this next year. 2020 is the year of keeping track of these things so that we can continue to have the Triplefour podcast and I can keep tabs, because I don't have Spotify. I don't have my end of the year. I don't have Letterboxd. I can't keep track of whatever movies other than my shitty memory.
Yeah.
So
get yourself a bullet journal.
I wish everybody had Letterboxd, to be honest, because I fucking love Letterboxd. I've been on there for 5 years, so I know every movie I've watched for the past 5 years and my thoughts on it at the time.
That's wild. And
like,
here's the other thing though, is like with music in particular, that's the thing. Like, obviously music to me is movies to you, which I definitely have grown a strong passion being involved in what you do. And
music's passion for me.
I've watched
I know,
a lot
like,
of fucking movies this year. I know, but it's like the flip flop. It's like that's obviously like priority for me, and then But I feel like anyway. Point being,
it's not a competition.
It's hard to pinpoint, particularly with music. Like, I can tell you favorite artists and I can tell you favorite albums, but they're not necessarily from this year. It's just stuff that I discovered this year.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yeah, no, that's a big part of things for me too, because I used to be way more in tune with like what was coming out like week by week with music. Like when I was in high school, I was like the resident reviewer.
I remember mixtape.com.
Dapiff.
Mixtapes.com.
Dapiff, bro. But like in high school I was like the music reviewer for the website, for the school newspaper website and the newspaper and whatever. So like I was always like I would go on Pitchfork every day like and read like the reviews and stuff, and I was so much more like hip. And now like this year my Wrapped was Nick Cave, Tom Waits, Springsteen, like David Bowie and fucking shit like that. So
Carly Rae Jepsen.
Probably low key. Yeah, I think my number one played song was one of hers. But yeah, so like I'm not as hip to like the new shit, but those were my favorite. Oh, also Vampire Weekend's new album was very very good.
I have not listened to it yet.
It's kind of a grower. Like the first time I listened to it, I was kind of like, this is weird and like big and like kind of hard to tackle. But the more I listened to it, I was like, I think this is quite an accomplishment.
That's what a lot of people said about Daughters.
Yeah, I didn't listen to that. I know that it was like
it's
deal.
strange, and I definitely agree that it is. First time I listened to it, I was kind of like, what's going on here?
What's going on, big guy?
Then you listen to it a couple. It honestly it takes like not just two. Like it takes a couple of listens through to where you're like, you know what? This is pretty cool.
Yeah. That's good. That's
and
cool.
the big contribution to that too is that I saw it live.
Yeah.
That was definitely one of the
same thing with Vampire Weekend
shows
for me.
that I saw this year. And that's one of those. He's just such a compelling front man. Just doing weird shit. He was like girls were like putting their fingers in his mouth and shit.
Dude, I gotta become a musician.
It was like it was just weird, man.
Yeah, no,
good show though.
Same thing with Vampire Weekend for me. The show really like helped capitalize on the album for me, because I mean, and it was also cool because I had like not thought about Vampire Weekend very much for like years because they were kind of away and they broke up kind of. I mean, Rostam left or whatever, but like, and then like when the new album was coming out, I was like, oh shit, I remember them. And then Harmony Hall came out, and I was like, this is a fucking banger. I'm into this. And then I started going back to the old catalog and looking at the other albums, which I've loved, as they come out the past decade or whatever. And then seeing the show, and it was like they're playing all these songs that I love, but I kind of forgot about, like, which is the best feeling. And then like playing the new stuff, and they really capitalized on live performance of the new stuff. Like I know they, having listened to some like interviews, podcasts with Ezra from Vampire Weekend, he was talking about like how much the Grateful Dead was an influence on like their new kind of sound and style, which is like really making the live version of the song stand out and doing new stuff in every show. And like they had this bit where like they said if anybody in the crowd is wearing a bucket hat, you can request the next song. That was a bit at one point. Yeah. And they requested Hannah Hunt, which is one of my favorite songs from the last album. So it was just knocked out of the park. Same night that the Blues won the Stanley Cup, by the way. And that was crazy because like everybody in the audience was kind of like they had their phones kind of on, and so like every time like the Blues scored, there was kind of this like surge of energy. And Vampire Weekend knew that they were in the final game or whatever.
Yeah.
They were in Game 7, and they were like, we're so glad that you chose to spend your time with us. We know it's an important night for you, but hopefully we'll have a good time. And like every now and then, like when they would cheer, the crowd would cheer, and like we just scored, and he would be like, we still winning? And then everybody like, yeah. And then it just like the energy was so real, and it just like the crowd was happy, and they were feeding into the band, and the band was going harder, and then it just kind of this great loop of like everybody was so optimistic and happy. Like that was like one of the best shows I ever saw, like straight up. So another 2019 highlight on the Triplefour podcast, number 2 podcast in the world.
Those were big time vibes for both Snarky Puppy and Toby. The crowd, like the energy, everything about that show, it was just.
Any films you want to point out as favorites? We're talking favorites. Like you probably liked a lot of movies, but let's talk the real nitty gritty, above the cream of the crop favorites.
Like all time?
No, of 2019.
Of 2019. Well, they're all pretty obvious picks. Midsummer, Lighthouse, and Wait, no, Good Time came out in 2017.
Yeah.
Knives
Out.
Oh, Midsummer, Lighthouse, and Knives Out are probably my top 3.
Cool. A24, killing it.
Killing
obviously.
it.
A24
the
is
game.
really a blessing. Like, I mean, it doesn't need to be said any more than it already has been, but A24 really giving us the gifts. I mean, giving directors budgets and letting them do their things.
I think that High Life was the first A24 movie, aside from The Witch, that I have seen.
They didn't make The Witch, though. They distributed it, but they didn't make it.
Okay.
Yeah. Facts.
Okay.
Eggers?
Well, then, yeah.
Get on the podcast.
High Life is the only movie from A24 that I've seen that I was, like, not thoroughly amused with.
Yeah. There was a movie they put out called Hot Summer Nights with Timothée Chalamet that I thought was pretty bad. I'm also not a fan of mid-90s, which we talked about on a podcast that was lost.
Oh, did that one get lost?
Yeah.
Mid-90s goes, Dan doesn't
yeah,
skate.
You're right.
He's
you're
a
right.
fucking poser.
You're right.
And fuck you.
And as for my favorites of films of 2019, you'll have to wait for me to make this fucking video because I think I'm gonna... The hard part is, like, I think New Year's Eve is, like, Tuesday, right? Tuesday.
Yeah.
Okay. If we go see Tuesday... Speaking of which, Watchmen, which is another thing. We don't have to get into it.
Oh, you finished? Yeah,
I did finish
You did
Watchmen.
message me and tell me you watched it.
Did you finish it too?
I did.
Yeah.
And I would actually like to talk about it, but we got 10 minutes left.
Let's just be brief.
Okay.
It was good. Great show.
It was good up until the last 2 fucking episodes.
You
I
really?
was pissed. I hated the ending.
Really?
Did not like the ending. I obviously don't want to give away spoilers, but I thought the entire rest of the show was so good, all the way up until the last 2 episodes, and I was like, I am mad at television.
Those last 2 episodes were fucking wild, though. I mean, like, it was...
They are, but there are some things that happen in there that... We can talk about it after the podcast without giving spoilers, but there's, like, 2 things in particular that made me really mad.
Okay. Well, we'll talk about it on our own time. Speaking of which, I think this means you really need to watch The Leftovers, which is another Damon Lindelof show. Damon Lindelof created this version of Watchmen, also Lost, also Tomorrowland, which is Maddie's favorite movie, obviously, since I showed her that one time. But yeah, Leftovers, check it out.
It was a good movie.
Yeah.
It was fine.
Good.
Speaking of leftovers,
he's gonna eat. 2019, what a year.
It was a year. It happened. A lot of stuff happened.
Definitely did.
I think we started the year with you not watching Mary Queen of Scots with me because you don't like period pieces, and I think now we're ending the year / starting the new year with you watching a period piece.
Here's the difference,
So I think it's
though.
really come full circle.
The difference is Little Women has got a fucking awesome cast.
That's true.
And
So did Mary
it's
Queen of
directed by
Scots.
Greta Gerwig, who I have faith in, and also the reviews are really good. The reviews of Mary Queen of Scots were not very good.
It was a good movie. Okay, but here's the thing, though. I had just finished watching Reign, which is about Mary Queen of Scots, but they butcher her life, and it's a really awful, terrible show. So really, anything that pertained to Mary Queen of Scots after that was probably going to be good, but I still felt like it was a good movie, and it had a pretty accurate representation of her life.
You heard it here first. That was Maddie's favorite movie of 2019. Mary Queen of
It's
Scots.
my favorite movie ever.
Saoirse Ronan was in that, wasn't she? It was her
I don't
and...
know who was in the movie. I don't know people's
Christ, you're not
names.
allowed on
I'm
the
sorry.
Triplefour Podcast.
I listen to the podcast. Y'all talk about people. I'm like, I don't know who that is.
Yeah, well,
it's like
start
Springerly.
learning.
At least you can't be as bad as Springerly. My friend Nick Springerly, if you're listening, fuck you. He gets mad at me for talking shit, but he didn't know who Chris Farley was.
I don't know
We
who that
were
is.
watching a movie.
Wait.
Well, okay,
No.
here's the thing.
Get
I don't know names. I usually know who people are talking about, but
know
I just
who
don't do
fucking
names.
Chris-
Okay, I'll
but
Google it right now.
here's the bad. You're gonna be like, oh, of course.
Yeah.
Although actually, if
I
you
don't
don't like
suppose.
Sandler, then
No, Farley is...
his
fucking-
own entity. Obviously,
Okay,
but-
I think in their primes, still Farley is
Oh.
leagues above Sandler.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. No,
I'm
absolutely.
aware of his existence.
Oh,
I don't know his
God.
name.
We gotta end.
Let
the
him
pod-
sleep in your
We
bed.
gotta end the podcast.
End it here.
Let him sleep in your bed.
But like he saw him on screen and he was like, "Who's that?" I was like, "Chris Farley." He goes, "Who's that?"
Oh God. Fucking
I yelled.
Philistine garbage.
That's
Scum.
I know about 10 to 20% of people I should know. I've at least got that.
You know who Adam Sandler is. That's kind
true.
of something.
I know who that is.
Because
and
her
I hate
hate
him deeply.
Because your hate is so strong.
It is very deep.
let's-
It's
yeah,
kind of like the
whatever.
Billie Eilish interview where she goes on and dude's like, "You're young. Remember how you're young? You're
You don't
stupid
know.
because you're
You're
you
young."
don't know shit, do you?
I can't believe you would be born past my age.
How dare you?
Oh, Jimmy
Bull?
Kimmel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jimmy
It's like-
Fallon.
Do you know who
Fuck
Van
you for
Halen
being
is?
young.
You know?
You ever heard of my age group entirely? I don't
I'm
know.
not like upset with Billie Eilish for not knowing who Van Halen is, but I'm kind of
No.
like, how did you miss that? You know, like surely.
That does seem like a big one, but like,
What about Post
she's just
Malone and
trying to
Ozzy
live.
Osbourne?
I can't believe Post Malone helped Ozzy
Well,
Osbourne make it big.
Post knew who Ozzy was though. That's why it's. Cool.
Well,
That's
but
why he
there
asked
was
her
a
to be on the
whole
song.
yeah, but there was a whole bit where people were like,
Didn't know who Ozzy
Post
was.
Malone discovered this guy.
Yeah, I
know,
Ozzy.
just like-
Well, shout out to Post Malone for creating Ozzy Osbourne.
Right. Well, just like when Paul McCartney did the song with Rihanna and Kanye, and people were like, "Man, they're really putting on this guy, Paul."
Y'all ever heard of Paul before?
Another
Paul
another
Rudd
example
specifically.
of how the Beatles destroyed culture,
Yes.
which is kind of our motto here on the Triplefour podcast. I want to end on. We talked about the best parts of 2019. What are going to be the best parts of 2020?
I'm graduating.
Buying a home.
Or are you? Are we gonna gamble it all away? thought-
I'm either buying a home or I'm putting it on the spread on the Celtics at the next earliest
The next date.
date.
I think the NBA. I mean, NBA isn't playing right now, so the playoffs will be spring.
I'm putting all my money on Garnett,
Okay.
I don't
I'll
think he
pitch
plays
in
anymore.
$5.
and then I'm buying 2 houses.
I don't think. I think
And then
Garnett's
I'm gonna
retired.
sell both those houses.
There's no way.
I'm gonna sell both those houses, and before the people move in, I'm gonna bet that money on Garnett.
Notice how that movie took place in 2012.
Yeah.
It kind of okay. Here's what really fucked me up is alright. I was around for 2012. I
Was there?
I was around for
Yeah.
it. Okay,
I graduated.
but it made it seem like it was so much farther away. In my head, 2012 was like right around the corner back there. But they made it seem like it was a totally different fucking era of existence. And maybe that's just because it was set on the East Coast, but to me it felt like this is just a time I wasn't even around for.
Well, culture and technology moves fast. Like I thought
Exponentially.
the few things that I think actually kind of pull you out of it and go like, oh wow, this is different. Is like his phone is like an iPhone 4 or something.
Basically your phone up until 10 seconds ago.
Yeah, well, relax. The Weeknd is a hot up and coming
Upcoming.
artist.
Yeah.
And then like I think they were playing like Kendrick's All Right
Yeah.
in the club. And
No, it was
and-
drag.
oh yeah, it was
It was-
drag. It was swimming pools.
Swimming
Yeah.
pools.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, that's some 2012 shit.
Yeah.
And there was another song that played. I was
All
like,
Right wasn't even out yet.
Yeah, true. And Type of Way by Rich Homie Quan was in there.
Oh yeah,
Shout
yeah,
out.
yeah. Oh, they also had. I don't know if you paid attention, but at the one game they were playing.
Pardon the Paint.
Waka Flocka.
Yeah. So
Shout out Waka Flocka.
this is kind of a period piece.
You still have to see Little Women with me.
I want to, so that's why the game
well,
is
then
rigged in my
that's-
favor.
That's
Because
not fun. You have to see a second one that you
I have to
don't
see a
wanna
movie I don't want to
Yeah.
see. Hopefully the movie will come out next year. That's the plan.
Your own movie is the movie you don't want to see. You have to see it.
Wow, crazy!
Yeah.
It's crazy how I've seen it 100 times more than anybody else on the
Yeah.
planet. And maybe another one will be in
Another
production
one.
or in some kind of form of existence. And yeah, maybe the podcast will.
It'll take off. I'm gonna start promoing. Everyone will know.
Again,
Sandler's going. The
We
Sandman
gotta start
himself
tagging
is gonna listen
Sandler.
to this.
Yeah.
We gotta start tagging the celebrities that we're calling out.
Sandman
Added
over and
to this-
over again.
This week on the shit list.
The Triplefour Shit List. You should make an Instagram page called the Triplefour Shit List, where it's just pictures of celebrities that we hate.
Yeah.
And it's just Sandler over and over again.
It's gonna
Tag the Sandman.
It's gonna be the Facebook cover photo. It's gonna be a picture of Robert Angers, a picture of Sandler, and a picture of Bob Lazar.
And then just each week you just say a name.
All right, this week we're gonna. That's good. I like that. Anyway, what a wonderful year. We had the podcast kind of reborn this year.
Expanded, definitely.
Yeah.
Expanded microphones and guests and
y'all finally got a woman on here.
End of the year. We're
breakthrough.
I'm pointing
breakthrough
it out.
podcast. It's Maddie's birthday.
Today is Maddie's birthday.
That's why we let her be on the podcast.
Yeah. It was my birthday present as #1 fan, so.
Yeah, well. Welcome to the Triplefour podcast. Alright, that's a wrap for me. See you next time in 2020.
Oh, I guess this is the last. Yeah. Okay, I
Goodbye
get
to
it
the
now.
decade.
It's
Wait,
the
are we
end
going
of
to
the
do decade?
Holy shit, this is the last podcast for the
Last
decade.
podcast of the decade.
Damn.
Do you have anything to say about the decade?
Man, vapes really took off.
Vapes really
Vapes
took off. If you're
really
thinking
were
about
wild.
vaping, talk to your parents.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was that was the highlight of the whole movie, was the ad right before where the kid was like, "Mom, Dad, I'm going to vape tonight."
That was my highlight of the decade.
No, he was like, I'm going to. That's essentially what he said.
Yeah.
Like,
I think it was.
I'm going to a party tonight, and I might vape.
I'm going to vape
No, he
because
said-
my friend Billy Jr. vaped, and I have to. And by the time you start talking to me,
I'll be
I'm gonna say
addicted.
"fuck you" and vape right in your face.
No, it was like
That was
in
it.
2 weeks I'm gonna go to a party, and there's where I'll
Except
start
it was
vaping.
Tonight. It was that night.
Okay,
he was
well,
ready. He
and
was
then
prepped.
And then he was like, "By the time I see you next, I'll be addicted to nicotine." And
"It'll be too late."
And then it said
if
the-
you'd only talked to me before.
thevapetalk.com, I think.
Hey, Mom and Dad. You know that party I'm going to next weekend? That's when I'm gonna start vaping. I've held out for a while, but now even Sean's doing it. Besides, it'll seem harmless enough. You won't know I'm vaping. It's easy to hide. And by the time you figure it out, I'll be hooked on nicotine. So please, learn about vaping. And talk to me while I'm still willing to listen.
Also, a note for the newbies, the pre-show show. It's kind of like TV in the theater where they have ads and shows
they play
and
it more
things.
than once sometimes.
That are
Hosted by
coming up.
Marina.
Everything needs to explode. There has to be at least one explosion in every ad.
Yeah.
When
Maria Menounos shows up, she
just
explodes.
blows up.
Yeah. Also,
See you next time. Explosion.
she always comes up. She's like, "You've spent this whole night with me," and I'm like, "No, I fucking didn't. I just got here, and you didn't pop up one time until you said goodbye." Anyway,
And then she went to vape for the first time because her parents didn't talk to her.
yes, she did. MariaMenounosVape.com.
Anyway, you guys
Should've
spent
talked.
the whole night with us.
Yeah. Thanks for spending your whole fucking week with us. You learned about vapes
Spent
and
the whole decade
Thanks.
with us.
Yeah, the whole decade. Thank you. With me
Thanks-
specifically, because it's mine. This
So,
is my podcast now.
thanks for spending the decade with the Triplefour podcast. We'll see you in the next one, and
Thank you for not vaping.
please don't vape,
Please talk to your parents about vaping first.
or I'll kill you.
Before the vape does.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Okay.
Happy New Year.